Okay, hello and welcome to this short workshop, which is how to find your purpose with human design. I have had quite a lot of questions that relate to this over the last few months around purpose and not being able to find purpose. And it's come up in readings quite often. And it also links into my kind of next stage of work, which is all around one-to-one personal training programs and transformation programs, which all looks at your unique human design. So I thought this was a good opportunity to do a workshop that will give you things that you can work on yourself, will give you information to get you started. What I should say is that human design is a huge, huge, huge topic. So the information in this is what I feel is useful to you at this moment in order to find your purpose. But it is a topic that is kind of a lifelong commitment. Um, every day I'm just over 3 years into my experiment, and every day I look at my chart and something different twigs, or I find out something else about myself, or I remember more, which is a better word, I remember something else about myself. Um, so this is very much a starting point, but hopefully it will give you everything that you need to be able to start working towards realignment. Because yeah, it takes a bit of time. So the first thing I wanted to say was purpose. We hear purpose as a word bandied about all the time. And the dictionary definition of purpose is the reason for which something is done or created or for which something exists. And I think this is where we tend to drop into that category. Usually when we're asking for purpose or we want to understand our purpose, it's because we are actually wondering why we are here and what we need to do whilst we're here. Um, which is a philosophical debate, maybe for another time. I think we will be here all day. What I haven't said actually, for those of you that haven't done any of my workshops with me, is that I'm Becky. If in case you haven't realised already, I'm Becky. I go by Becky the Humble Warrior in my business and online. I'm a human design reader, a sound healer, and a ceremony creator. I'm based in Nottinghamshire. Um, and I have a studio, so I do lots of in-person work, which actually suits my purpose very well. Um, and I do the odd bits of online stuff, but it's mainly in person because I like to be connected to people. So anyway, purpose, the reason for which something exists. I think it's important as well at this point to just point out what human design is. So, although it's a relatively modern system, it was born or downloaded in the 1990s, early 1990s. It's actually a system that takes lots of ancient traditional practices and blends them together to form something that we can understand a little bit more practically, with the brains that we like to use and like to rely on within our system. So it takes the chakra system um, from yoga philosophy. It takes the Vedic astrology, which is from the Eastern traditions. Kabbalah and the Kabbalah tree of life is added in there, and the Chinese I Ching, which is where we get the gates and the hexagram structures. So when you look at your chart, you'll see lots of numbers on it. That is the I Ching gates. And what human design gives us based on our date of birth, time of birth, and location of birth is a map of us. And it provides a blueprint for who we are, why we're here, and how to move through life with more flow and less force. So it basically, when you follow it, it makes life a little bit easier. You're basically living in alignment with yourself, which is always nice. The body graph is imprinted when you're born. So in a moment, I'll show you what the body graph looks like, and you get an imprint when you are born based on the energies of the planets in the gates that are active at that very moment when you are born. And this forms the basis of your conscious personality. So on the right-hand side of your graph, you will see a column of numbers. On that right side, it says personality at the top. These are conscious parts of yourself that when you delve into them, you will probably recognize a little bit more easily, because that is you. When you were born, that's where the planets were lit up, and that blueprint essentially has been downloaded, printed onto you. But you then have the unconscious side, and the unconscious side sits on the left-hand side of your chart. So it's a left-hand list of numbers. And these are called unconscious gifts or design gifts. And they're gifts that your soul has come with from past lifetimes, from past experiences, whether they're collective or individual, which are things that you won't necessarily know that you have. People will probably tell you that that's what they see in you, or that's how they receive you, or that's what you're good at. And there'll be elements of it where you kind of go, oh no, that's not me. I don't recognize that at all, because you will be looking at the right-hand side, the personality. And these are the unconscious side. So what people see in you is more the unconscious side, the left side. And these are soul gifts, soul traits that were imprinted, downloaded to your body 3 months before you were born. So you were in the womb, and that is when it's said in human design terms that the soul incarnated into the body. So it forms the basis of this unconscious you. If you've not got your human design chart, I would recommend downloading it now before we head into the rest of the workshop. There are loads of free apps and websites that will give you your basic blueprint with, you want to look for one that's got the columns down either side, like I'll show you in a moment. If you just type in free human design chart on Google, you should find one. And when you do get it, have it for the rest of this workshop so that you can have a look. Once you've got it, it looks a little bit like this. So this is my chart. So as you can see, on the right-hand side and on the left-hand side, you've got two columns. So you've got right hand here. This is my personality. This is more what I see in myself. And that's where the planets sat in the Chinese I Ching when I was born. On the left-hand side is when my soul incarnated into the body 3 months before. And yeah, that's more what other people see in me. So you have this body graph. It looks a little bit confusing to start with. It's got 9 different energy centers. These are made up of the chakra energy centers plus a few extras, because there's only 7 in the kind of traditional energy center, chakra energy centers. So you have the root down at the bottom, you have the solar plexus, which is on the right, you have the sacral, which is in the middle, you have the spleen, you have the ego or the heart center, the G center, the throat, the third eye, and the crown. And big spoiler, but this is your purpose. So this graph, these numbers, these colors, these arrows, these channels, gates, this is your purpose, because your purpose on this planet is to be yourself. And that is all there is to it. Be yourself. However, it's really that simple. Or is it? Because yes, your purpose in life is to be yourself. The problem is, most of us don't know who we are. So we have been conditioned, gone through experiences, gone through traumas, gone through challenges, highs and lows that have shaped our soul, our purpose, our understanding of ourselves. And very often it has been through the lens of other people. So whether that's parents, teachers, children, work colleagues, bosses, friends, along the way, a lot of people have told you that you are someone else, or you need to be something else. And so the problem when we then start to work with our human design and we then start to find our purpose is that because we're a million miles away from those gifts that we came with from, past lifetimes or whatever you want to call it, collective lifetimes. And when we were born and what we nurtured and what we knew we enjoyed, because we're a million miles away from it, we have to kind of take a step back and go, okay, that's my purpose, but I'm not actually aligned to my purpose at the moment because I'm not aligned to being myself. I am either a character or I'm wearing a costume, I've got a mask on, whatever it is, we're not actually in that place. And that might be for safety reasons, that might be because we're still not able to bring ourselves back to that point. But once you do have those strong foundations, it's then time to return back to who you are, because your life purpose is to be yourself. Because we need a world full of authenticity, which is why it's so important to rediscover yourself. Not who you think you are or who you should be or who someone else wants to be you. Your soul came here with a vision. That's why it incarnated at this time, this moment in time, for this amount of time. Your soul came here with a vision. You're born because we need your energy as a collective and as the individuals around you. We need your energy to guide us or show us or to change something depending on what your energy type is. So whether you're a manifestor, manifesting generator, projector, reflector, depending on what energy type you are, we need that energy from you. We need you to step into the boots, really, of being you, so that together, as we navigate these times as a collective through the world, if everyone's working from their place of authenticity and from their place of purpose and belonging, we have everything we need on the planet to make changes and to navigate in a way that is going to be the healthiest way for humanity. So yeah, everyone has a different purpose because we're all different. So everyone taking this workshop is going to be approaching it from a completely different place, depending on what gifts you have. So you're starting to get the picture? Everyone's different. We need everyone to be different. And the only way that you can understand, know, be, live, embody your purpose is to just be you. So yeah, we need you to be you, but where do you start? How can I start to discover my life purpose? I've got my body graph. I know that that's my purpose. My purpose is to return back to myself so that I can live from a place of authenticity and give the people around me, give the world what I have to offer. Where do I start? So the human body graph is a huge, huge map, essentially. You can study it for an entire lifetime and probably still learn different things about it, because it's not just a case of looking at it, reading something or doing one workshop or doing one course and then having everything that you need to know. It's called an experiment. Human design is called an experiment because you're meant to experiment with it, you're meant to live it, you're meant to embody it, you're meant to trial and error, do things differently, make changes. So you can study it for a lifetime, and it's a huge, huge, huge map. Today, we're going to just look at 3 key areas. So we're going to look at defined centers. These are the coloured in shapes on your body graph. So they're either squares, triangles, or diamond shapes. Because this is where your consistent energy sits, and this is your consistent energy that you bring to the table during your lifetime. So these really are your purpose. They're if your purpose is to be you, and you have this energy to bring, that you can show up in those areas of your life more authentically. We're then going to look at life theme gates. So this is your conscious and unconscious personality and medicine, sun and earth signs. And then profile lines, because these make up a unique combination of you when they're put together. There are 12 different profile lines. When you put them together, they create magic, they create contrast, they create harmony, they create you and how your energy, how your personality is asking to be used, basically, during this lifetime. So defined centers. On your chart, it will look a little bit like this. As I say, this is mine. So you can see that I have got a defined ego or heart center. I have a defined throat, I have a defined third eye, and I have a defined crown. So just have a look at yours, your body graph, which you should have in front of you. So have a look, make a note so that as I go through these next centers, you've got an awareness of where your definition in your chart is. Most people will have at least 2 centers defined, unless you're a reflector, in which case you won't have any of these centers defined, because your purpose is to be basically the barometer for the rest of us to see how we're doing. So your purpose is to follow your strategy and authority, which is to be inspired and surprised on a daily basis, and work with the moon. So for everyone else, reflectors are only around 1% of the population. So I'm going to guess that there's no reflectors on here. Most people will have at least, let's say, 2 defined centers. So just make a note. What have you got? You've got, if you're down here, root, solar plexus, sacral, spleen, G center. So just what I've done from bottom up. Root. So this is the root. This is the solar plexus. This is the sacral. This one's the spleen. Got the ego center or the heart, the G center, or the personality crystal, ID crystal, sometimes it's called, throat, third eye, crown. And just going through them from the bottom. So a defined root reminds you that you are designed to take stress and turn it into fuel. So if you have a defined root, this is a pressure center. You will feel a consistent amount of pressure to get things done. It's a little bit like get up and go, gets you up in the morning. It means you can handle more stressful situations differently to others. So again, this is part of your purpose. It might be that you are here to fuel yourself and others through situations that are more stressful. Instantly my head goes to like frontline services and things like that have to deal with a large amount of pressure on a daily basis, but not let that pressure turn to burnout. It's your get up and go to get things moving, get things started. So if you have a defined route, the questions I will be asking myself in terms of purpose are you using this defined center to its best ability right now? Or are you letting burnout win? Because if you have this defined, you should have access to use stress and pressure as a fuel rather than letting it burn you out. The next one is the solar plexus, and this is contrary to kind of traditional chakra system. The solar plexus in the Human Design Center matrix is related to emotion and empathy. So a defined solar plexus reminds you that your emotional wave or build-ups are your compass. Not everyone feels emotions as deeply as you or as wildly as you. So when you are feeling emotions, they are a compass point. They are here to guide you. They are here to be offloaded. They are here to be ridden. Emotions are one of your fuels, essentially, that are that you're going to bring to the table. And why this is important is because not everyone has this access to their emotions to use that fuel to carry them through the day. So it might look like you're a very expressive person in terms of maybe art or dance or ways that don't involve the throat to show emotion. So yeah, that's going to tie into part of it. And the questions I will be asking myself is, how well do you listen to your emotions? How well do you turn your emotions into something beautiful or something useful to yourself or to others? Are you regularly releasing your emotions, whether through communication or ritual or journaling? And what are your emotions telling you? Keep an emotion journal. Different people will have different styles of emotion, so it's important to know whether you have a build up or whether you are a slow burner or whether you have a constant up and down. Moving to the sacral, this is the one that sits just above the root. So a defined sacral reminds you that you have ample energy, like a Duracell bunny, to keep going and going from dusk till dawn, as long as it's something that excites or interests you. So you have a lot of life force energy to give, to spread, to share around, to let other people feed off of it. However, whatever you're doing needs to be something that excites and interests you or satisfies you so that you can then spread that energy around. There's no fuel there for things that don't light you up. And it's about releasing shame from the center as well. This center will clog with shame because sacral is also linked to the womb space, the creativity center. And so that is where a lot of shame can sit in our waters. So I've been looking at doing some of that deconditioning work as well, if that's something that you've been affected by. And the question for this one, or the questions, what are your energy levels like right now? And how can you clean up the ways in which you use your energy? Because if you're feeling drained, you're fueling yourself with the wrong thing. If you have this defined, you should not be feeling drained. It should not be a feeling that's coming into your peripheral, let alone into your body. And your purpose, bringing it back to purpose, is going to be around using that fuel up during the day. So when you get up, using that fuel, making sure that you're not just sat on your bum all day doing not a lot. When you have this defined, that is not going to energize you. That is not going to keep you going. That is not going to bring you closer to your purpose. It's going to take you further away. The next one is a spleen, and the defined spleen, if you have it, I don't, as you can see, it's white in my chart. Defined spleen reminds you that nervous energy is still energy. So it's a fuel to be used again. Nerves and anxiety will sit in the spleen because it's a survival center and it's all about instinct. What I find interesting about this one actually is that on reflection, a lot of the times when people have got this coloured in, their purpose will be strongly linked to instinct or survival related hobbies, jobs, lifestyles, because that's something that they have to give to the world. Your survival instincts are your friends when you have this coloured in. They keep you and others safe and they tie into your purpose. It's about releasing fear as well from the center. Fear sits in the center, which is too stronger energy for the kind of nervousness and anxiety that should sit there, but it shouldn't sit there stale. It should sit there as a fuel for you to use, whether that's to help others, to help yourself, to get out of situations. Yeah. Question: how does survival instinct and fear drive you? And is it about food? Is it about safety? Is it about environment, money, relationships? What sort of survival instincts or fear kick in to get that center really activated and really going? So it's going to give you fuel to keep going. ego center or heart center, when you have this defined, your purpose lies in your desires and your heartfelt wants. So it's almost, I don't want to, I don't have a better word for the word selfish, but it's not selfishness from a greed or from a nasty place. It's all about valuing you and valuing your own worth when you have this center defined. So your purpose is going to lie in your self-worth and your belief system in yourself and trusting and backing yourself when you are out and about in the world and doing your thing, whether it's work, relationships, family life, whatever. It's going to be all about trusting yourself, backing yourself, understanding that you are worthy and the desires that you have are here to drive your purpose forwards. And you know, when we look at this ego center, a lot of the time, people can fall into the shadow side of this, so greed and shallowness. But as long as you're doing it from a conscious place, it's 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 not a bad thing. Looking after yourself, looking after your needs and the needs of your tribe, because a lot often these gates form channels which are in the what's called the tribal circuit, which is about serving your community. So it's really about looking after yourself to ensure the survival of your community, survival of your tribe. And your defined heart center is asking for you to listen to your desires to help you discover who you are. So really simple question for this one. What is your ultimate desire from life? That's going to be one of your drivers. That's going to be linked to your purpose, because the wisdom is going to come out of the body rather than out of the head. We like to stay in our heads. We need to get better at coming down into our bodies and listening to our bodies because all the energy centers have different things to say. A defined G center, this is the diamond in the middle of the chest, means that deep down you know the direction you need to go in, but maybe you're scared or fearful of how that might work out for you. The purpose of the G center is to really work on discovering who you are, and this can involve many kind of layers, many different therapies, because it really wants to get to the core of who it is as a defined G center. The problem is you kind of get stuck in discovering who you are rather than just embodying who you are. And that's where the human design comes in to help. That's the embodiment practice. So don't go too far down the rabbit hole of discovering who you are. You need to just embody who you are, and meet yourself where you're at on that day, that week, month, year. With it defined, you're constantly questioning who you are, and this might form part of your purpose and lead you down new avenues as well. So as you peel back another layer of the onion, you might discover or remember something else about yourself, and that takes you down another rabbit hole. So just use that to start to understand yourself better and discover yourself more, but still remember that embodying piece. So my question for this one would be, what self-limiting beliefs are keeping me restricted or stuck? A defined throat is a manifestation center. It's a center of expression. You can literally speak things into existence when you have a defined throat. It's your communication tool, so you need to get better at speaking your truth, speaking about the things that you want or need, depending on what's connecting to this throat, basically. A defined throat means that your purpose is to use your voice. Speak up, speak out, call out inequalities and things that rile you. Your purpose lies in your voice and making yourself heard, so stop hiding it away. So what would you love to say that you haven't communicated yet? And again, this is going to give you a bit of a clue as to where you're not using your voice and where you're keeping yourself locked away, small, unseen, unheard. If you have a defined throat, people need to hear from you. So it's about finding a way that is going to be comfortable and aligned for you to speak. The third eye is the next one up, and a defined third eye means your purpose lies in thinking, thoughts, strategies, getting the cogs whirring and working. It is consistent mental energy, consistent thoughts, and it's about letting the mind do that, letting it work itself out, letting it tire itself out. Because all the things that you're going to bring to the world and bring to the table are going to be linked to those thought patterns. So as soon as you try and block them out, you need to control them because you don't want them impacting sleep, impacting relaxation, impacting stress levels, etc. But all the things that come out of that defined third eye are going to be really important for you to either share through your voice or share through your creations or ponder, share questions, all of that sort of energy. So, question, do you satisfy your thinking brain or do you try and shut it down? How can you keep your thinking mind busy on things that matter to you rather than trying to figure out other people's issues? So it's all about feeding the mind with the food that it wants to be fed with. And finally, a defined crown means that you're here to share what inspires you with the world. So this is all about inspiration through whatever medium you choose. This is a gift and it forms part of your purpose, and people want to know about those things that inspire you. So don't shy away from them. They could be as out the box as you think, or they might be very straight laced things that inspire you. But if you have this defined, people want to hear about, or know about, or feel into, or share with you the things that inspire you. And you might be here with just a defined crown and a defined third eye, which means that you are just here to share your thoughts, essentially, share your viewpoint, share the way that you see the world, share the things that inspire you. That would be a projector with defined third eye and crown, if that's anyone watching. So question, what inspires you at the moment and how can you do more of that? So after defined centers, have a drink actually. After defined centers, the next thing to look at is your life theme. And I've put circles on the body graph here so you can see where the numbers for the life theme comes from. As you can imagine, sorry. As you can imagine, your life theme forms a major part of your purpose. Again, purpose is being you. Your purpose here is to be you. And you is made up of 70% your personality and design, sun and earth signs. This is what forms your life theme. So your personality is this side. The sun for me is the 33, the earth is the 19. And the sun is your personality. It's how you ultimately see yourself on this side and how other people see you on this side, so 24. The earth, the sign underneath, is your medicine or your support system. It's what's going to support you as you journey through life. On a personal level, number 19 for me is a personal level, and number 44 is how other people will draw support from me or what they will see in me. So have a look. This is your earth. This is your sun. Top one is your sun. Second one down is your earth. Personality is on the right side. Design is on the left side. And there are 64 different gates, there are 192 different life themes. So it's a good opportunity to start now understanding yours. So Google those gates on your chart. If you type in human design we'll use mine as an example. Human design gate 33. See what comes up, see what it says. That would be my personality sun. That is how I see myself, how I see me sharing my gifts, living my life, moving through with flow. That's how I would see myself. And I would use the gate 19. So I type Google human design gate 19. That is how I support it. So I think I put some examples on the next part. Yeah. So my purpose is made up of a combination of what I see in myself, which is the personality sun, the gate 33, which sits in the throat. So using my voice, using my throat, which is to use my voice and share lessons and wisdom from the past. Literally exactly what I'm doing here now. I'm talking about ancient traditional systems. I'm talking about my experience with human design in order for people to learn. So that fits my personality sun perfectly. The support system in place for that, what I need to deploy as support is my personality earth. For me, that's the gate 19. Sits in the root, foundational, which is the sensitivity to the needs of others without losing yourself. So it's being aware of what people need, like this course or like whatever else I'm doing, being aware of what people need, approaching it sensitively, but also making sure that I am fed out of it as well. And then the design side, this is what people see in you. So this left-hand side is what people will be drawn towards you for, what people come for, or come to you for as a friend, as a partner, family, business, whatever it is that you want to link it to. That's what people see in me. So the sun, the design sun for me is a gate 24, which sits in the third eye. And this is transformation through silence, which most of my work or a lot of my work is sound healing and meditation. So people are literally coming to me to transform through silence, without human voice, without spoken voice, just using sound. And my design earth, which is what supports that, what people come to me, what people need from me, what medicine people need to take away from me and my teachings or my existence, is to practice forgiveness and awareness and learn from mistakes. So there's a lot of elements of reflection in there, a lot of kind of self-forgiveness, self-awareness, and learning. It literally ties in. Those of you that have been to classes and things will know that it just ties in exactly to what I do on a day-to-day basis. And I have tailored my business around my human design as well, because I'm self-employed and I work for myself. I have tailored it around my human design, knowing where my strengths lie rather than trying to be the same as everyone else. Because if I'm stepping into my purpose is about living life as authentically me as possible, then I need to be aware of who I am. So you can see how it all starts to tie together. So take a good look at your gates in your life theme, and to understand what your soul came here for and what you need from life too. Again, just give them a Google, spend some time reflecting when you can, just to see what those gates bring up for you. And it's all well and good just learning about them. You do actually have to embody them as well. So there will be some work for you to do around, okay, am I doing this? Is this aligned to kind of how I hold myself and how I carry myself and the things that I think I'm good at, or I feel I'm good at, and all that unpacking work. And the final thing I wanted to touch on was profile lines. So the profile lines will help you figure out when you'll be most in flow and closer to your purpose. Because when you're living in your purpose, you should be meeting very little resistance to how you live your life. If things are just getting really hard and you're coming up against challenge after challenge after challenge, the likelihood is that you're not living in alignment with who you are deep down inside. So your profile lines will help you to figure out maybe where you're going wrong. So the line 1, so you get these lines from this top line, so the sun line. It will also say if you've got certain charts what you are. So it'll either say a 1-4 or a 5-1 or a 3-5 or a 4-6 or a 6-3. Whatever it says, they're your lines. They're your profile lines. So take those two numbers. I'm a 1-4, as you can see here, 1 from here, 4 from here. If you're a line 1, you need to be learning, reading, taking courses, absorbing knowledge, absorbing wisdom, learning from people. Part of a line 1's purpose is to basically learn everything that interests them and excites them. And what happens as a line 1 is that they become an authority on that subject almost by accident, because they're feeding their appetite for knowledge and information. And as they do that, they realize actually everyone's not doing this. This isn't how everyone operates. And so they build up this wealth of knowledge, and are then able to share it in some way, depending on what their second line is or what their first line is. And that forms part of their purpose. So part of their purpose is to make sure that they're taking time to learn. As a line 2, this is all about learning to trust yourself. So it's a lot of self-empowerment work, self-embodiment work, trusting your own wisdom, doing the things that come easy to you rather than kind of meeting resistance. Anything, line 2 should be literally following the path of least resistance in life. They love hermiting away occasionally, and that should be something that they do as part of their purpose. Yeah, so trusting yourself, learning, doing and following the things that come easily to you, and taking time to hermit away. The line 3 is using life as one great experiment and chucking yourself into the thick of it. So forget about reading the books and going on the deep dives and all of that sort of thing, because you're probably going to get pretty bored when you do that as a 3 line, because it's just not made for you. Forget about the path of least resistance which is what the 2 line is. As a 3 line, you probably will have a few challenges thrown in the mix, because that's how you learn. They are literally school of lifers, and they are meant to be here to experience life. And something that I was reflecting on recently was, in my family I have a lot of 3-5s. Most of them are 3-5s, in fact. And at least 2 of them have chucked themselves out of airplanes. So I feel like the 3 line energy is probably going to be attracted to some of those kind of adrenaline fueled sports. That goes for a 6 line as well, because a 6 line is essentially a 3 for a long period of time. But anyway, so yeah, it might be that as a 3 line you're attracted to a bit of danger, a bit of bending of the rules and pushing the rules and all of that sort of thing. And it's part of you, part of your personality, part of your purpose, because life is one great big experiment. The line 4, you're going to be living your purpose by being around people you know or are already connected to in some way and feel a connection. The line 4s are classic community holders. They will usually get, if we're talking about work, they will usually get recommendations or connections through people that they already know, and that's how their network spreads and spreads and spreads. They are naturally meant to connect with a large number of people throughout their lifetime, but that might look more like very personal interactions rather than speaking to kind of big crowds sometimes, because they want to have that more penetrative conversation with people. The line 5 is engaging and speaking to anyone and everyone that you feel drawn towards. So you're probably someone who doesn't mind talking on the phone, doesn't mind talking to or working a room in some way, doesn't mind those kind of very impersonal conversations. And in terms of purpose, you're going to be most in your purpose when you're in those sorts of situations. So talking to people, but not necessarily getting into that nitty-gritty that a 4 line would get into. And a 6 line, you're going to be in your purpose by being the role model that you wish you had. So the 6 line is all about role modeling behavior and standing up for what you believe in, standing up for the things that you want to see around you. And that will likely mean that there's no one else around you doing that, because you will have to be the role model that everyone else needs. So there is an element of, finding confidence and finding self-belief in that purpose as well. So to conclude, your purpose in life is to be yourself. It really is that simple. Your purpose in life is to be yourself, but to be yourself, you need to understand who you are and what makes you tick. And that is the key. You can't be yourself unless you know who you are. And that's where the human design experiment starts to come in to help to guide you back towards the path, or back towards the center of who you are. Defined centers will help you to understand the energy that you have access to on a day-to-day basis to use. And by using that energy, you're going to be more aligned to your purpose, because you're going to be more aligned to who you are. Your life theme will show you how you see yourself and how other people see you. And yeah, hold a pattern to embrace. So it will be a bit of a thread that runs through your life, through different elements of your life, your personality, and your design. And your profile lines will show you how your personality and life theme will flourish more. So by using your profile lines, you will be able to live more in alignment. You'll be able to live more as yourself in natural situations. And you'll be able to flourish with that. And don't forget, your strategy and authority will be your key to continuing this experiment. So your strategy will either be, if you're a manifestor, it's to inform. If you're a manifesting generator or a generator, it will be to respond. If you're a projector, it's to wait for an invitation. If you're a reflector, it's to wait 28 days or a lunar cycle. And this is when you're making decisions. If your authority will live in one of your defined centers. So it will say, if you downloaded your chart, where your authority sits. And that will be your intuition. Your authority is basically your intuition, where your intuition sits. So that kind of concludes the end of my program or workshop that I'm delivering. But if anyone does want to learn more, I'm officially launching this next week. There's meant to be a picture on that big blank space, so I'm not sure where my picture's gone. But I've got a program launching. It'll be next week. But I have told people who have had readings about it, who have attended workshops for human design. It's just I haven't spread it onto social media or to my wider mailing list yet. So you are getting first look, basically. It's called Chrysalis. It's a 12-week one-to-one transformation program using human design, sound healing, and ceremony work. It's one-to-one. So 4 one-to-one sessions a month over the space of 3 months. It's a deep dive into who you are and how you can live more in alignment week by week, holding you accountable, answering questions, going deeper in more bite-sized chunks so that we can really start to pull out all the elements of you that we need to be more aware of, be more in alignment with, decondition, work through, and we'll do that together as a little team. I'm doing this because I want to make long lasting changes. These workshops are great, but they do rely on you being able to kind of come to your own conclusions. And actually, for a lot of people, you need a bit of a soundboard or someone to guide you, someone to ask questions, someone to answer your questions, someone who will know where to find the information that you need for that next kind of missing puzzle part. So that's what I'm going to be doing for the long lasting changes. And it can be online or in the studio or a mix to suit. The course content, as I say, it's 12 weeks. And it goes through literally everything, every aspect of your human design chart, and allows us time to integrate and embody all those parts so that you can actually live your design rather than just knowing about it. So it will be about we'll have an introduction, you'll do a full reading as week 1 to start with. And from that, that's going to form our foundations for the rest of the work. So we'll be looking at defined centers, life themes, channels. We'll be using sound meditation to reflect and to decondition and to reprogram. Undefined centers, deconditioning, gates, senses, profiles, circuits, authority, intuition health, physical health alongside human design, and how our physical health or how our energetic well-being is affecting our physical health. Chart nuances, variables, reflections, again, sound healing, exploring the North and South node to understand where we've come from and where we're going, exploring accountability, power of affirmation, yoga nidra, sound, removing blockages, reprogramming self-beliefs and long-standing structures, using cacao to release, and doing ceremonies together so that they are completely tailored to you, tweaking blueprints. So when you tweak a blueprint or manipulate a blueprint, you're basically working with the energy that's always changing around you. So planets, understanding temporary activations that you might have in your chart and how we all complete each other. So understanding that teamwork dynamic that human design brings. Manipulating lifestyle, so environment, making sure we've got the right environment set up for us, digestion, manifestation to ensure long-lasting change. And finishing with a celebration of our journey together. So reflections, meditation, cacao, fire, sound healing, and celebration of how far you've come and what you've learned about yourself and what you've embodied and what there is still kind of work to do as you move forwards and continue with your experiment. It's basically everything that you will need as a foundation to really live your design. This has taken me like 3 years to get to, and I feel like this will be delivered in 12 weeks. So it's basically cutting out the self-learning process and using me as that guide through the sessions. The cost, obviously, this is a one-to-one program over 12 weeks. It consists of 20 hours, roughly one-to-one time. The cost is £750, which is payable over 3 months, so £250 a month over those 3 months. It equates to £37.50 per hour when you break that down as one-to-one time, which is definitely the cheapest offering that I have as one-to-one. I think my one-to-ones usually start just with sound healing at £50 an hour for an hour sound healing. Reading or mentoring is usually £90 an hour, so massive discount for that. If you want to read more about it, you can visit this website here that's on the screen, chrysalis.private.transformation-course. If you just go to the homepage on my website, thehumblewarrior.co.uk, you'll see the information. But otherwise, thank you. I hope you're looking forward to delving, further into your purpose, which is just to be more of yourself. So I hope that you found that helpful. I'm on Instagram at Becky_THW. If you want to kind of ask questions, whether it's about this, whether it's about the Chrysalis program, whether it's just human design musings that you want to share, I'm here for it. So feel free to drop me a message, and I hope that you've enjoyed this course.